Something special is happening in the high valleys of Lake County, California, a place where respect for tradition, care for the environment, and a passion for quality come together to produce the perfect pear. What the Greek poet Homer called a gift of the gods.
A Lake County pear has a beautiful long-necked pear shape. It's a classically formed pear.
Pear growing regions are as specialized as the regions that grow wine grapes, and the two grow side by side in Lake County.
The lake moderates the climate, and so the lake created all this tremendous bottomland.
The Lake County pear industry traces its roots back to the pioneers who came to California seeking gold in the early 1850s. Finding mostly hardship and disease in the Central Valley, they pushed further west into what is now Lake County, where they found gold of another kind, an environment well suited to raising quality pears.
The first large planting was in 1885, and it was 4 acres.
That same year, Lake County pears won top honors at the World's Fair in New Orleans, prompting the chairman of the fair's exhibition committee to say, "If I were a young man, I would buy land in Lake County and plant Bartlett pears." The rush was on, and small commercial orchards sprang up all across the region.
Lewis Henderson was one of the early pioneers. He was my great-grandfather.
Henderson was a farmer with an entrepreneurial spirit.
In 1890, he planted 20 acres. By 1900, he had 120 acres, which was really a lot, considering everything had to be done with a horse.
There are certainly trees out there that outdate all of the farmers that are farming them now. They were planted by grandparents and farther back than that.
Raising pears out there is like raising kids.
There's a real emotional attachment to farmers to the orchards. They remember who planted them or that they're only farming them for a little while and caring for them until somebody else comes along to do it also.
I'm very attached to this orchard and to the old trees.
Whenever I have a dilemma, a serious problem to ponder, I always go out to the grandpa tree. And I addressed my grandfathers, and I can picture them walking around the tree.
Giving you advice.
I hear one say, "I think you should do this," and then said, "No, now I don't think that's a good idea at all."
Here I am, the 5th generation, and still farming the same orchard that Lewis Henderson planted in 1891.
Lake County is a place with heavy clay soil and a growing altitude of about 1,500 feet.
The altitude is higher than that's found in the other pear growing areas. And this lack of atmosphere, it's very dry here in the summer, means that the pears are bright appearing and very cosmetically pleasing.
And a summer climate of warm days and cool nights also produces a pear of exceptional sweetness.
It's about a 2 3/4 inch pear with a lot of sugar. It should have good shelf life. It'll ripen fairly quickly and be perfect to eat in about a week.
It takes more than a special environment to produce a special pear. It takes experience.
The most critical part in raising a perfect pear is the pruning.
We're lucky we have labor that's been with us 25 to 30 years, and they're very experienced in pruning, but you basically have to cut half the growth off every year.
If a worker prunes the tree correctly, he cuts close, but he doesn't cut off the good fruiting wood. And it takes a lot of experience to know what creates good fruit wood and then how to renew that wood year by year so that you continue to have good crops without overloading the tree.
And it takes an equal amount of experience to know how to pick.
Every pear is picked by hand. There currently is nothing mechanically done.
This crew will pick about 300 bins a day. And that'll get us finished in about 18 to 19 days.
All the fast pickers, if you watch them, it's the main thing is how they set the ladder, and second is how they handle the fruit.
Economy of motion is very important.
Slow down, put your bag all the way down before you let it loose.
I think all the workers feel that they have a stake in this ranch. It's their livelihood, but they take pride in the work and they're conscientious. They care about the product. I always treat my workers as if the orchard they pruned is their orchard. That way, if the crop comes off beautifully, they have direct credit for it.
Many of these men have been working in Diane Henderson's orchard for 10 years or more. Their consistency and experience is paying off.
If we make it to harvest without frost damage, without blight, and I look down the row and I see bin after bin of perfectly shiny light green pears, it's like I've struck gold. Then I've succeeded, and it's a wonderful feeling.
At 2,000 feet, you notice the Lake County orchards and the packing sheds are close together. Another reason Lake County pears have the edge over the competition.
They have to be picked and packed within 24 hours of being off the tree in order to maximize their shelf life to the consumer back in the store. And so the fact that our packing houses are very close to the orchards here really lends into the quality that the consumer ultimately feels at the stores.
Inside the packing sheds, it's a race against time. Like the pickers in the fields, these workers also have a special set of skills.
Two hand packing gentle, not for damage the pear.
An expert can pack 200 boxes of high-quality pears a day.
It is a hard work. All day they are hanging up the box. The box weighs like 43 pounds, and it is hard to pack.
Each day, this operation can process as many as 25,000 boxes. The idea is to get the pears out of the fields and into cold storage as quickly as possible.
The packing facilities are highly developed here in terms of the ability to get the field heat out of the crop.
In about 10 hours, they can drop the temperature of a pear from 80 to 36 degrees.
And these things are absolutely essential for Bartlett pear raising, and it's something that the customer needs to keep in mind. They can be bought from people who don't have these facilities, and the shelf life and the eating quality of the pear is not nearly the same.
I was 12 when I started selling pears with a little apron around my waist with my money in it, and so we've grown a lot since then.
The Seeley family moved to Lake County in the 1950s and opened this farm stand right next to their orchard. They're at the ground level in an industry where just about the only thing that remains constant is the quality of the fruit.
The Lake County pear is longer. It has a longer neck. It's a little bigger. They have a nice blush to them. They have a great shelf life. They're just a good eating pear all around.
When you buy a Lake County pear, you're getting a product that not only tastes good, you're getting one that is produced with respect for the environment and care for the workers.
We've got rules here. We clean up our environment. We pay our workers more. They have benefits. There's hourly, restrictions on how long they can work. All of those things are good for the worker, good for the environment,
Sustainability is a goal that we've been consciously working toward for many years now.
We're depending on beneficial insects for some of our insect control.
The use of harsh chemicals are long gone anymore, so we do lots of other things to enable us not to have to use harsh chemicals.
And special efforts are made in places where the orchards adjoin the lake and the creeks.
What we're in right now is a buffer zone for both of the orchards on either side. These wood duck boxes here are providing habitat and breeding grounds for one of the riparian zones along the borders of our orchards.
Most of us use no-till farming. We try to avoid compaction of the earth.
We are constantly using our marketing order funds that we collect from every box of pears that's packed to do research to find better ways to make our farming even yet more sustainable.
Even so, the pear industry is facing a difficult fight.
Things have changed over the years. People aren't canning like they used to. They're not buying in bulk. They're just buying the bag of pears to take home and eat fresh.
Recently, Colleen Wrench and her family took 90 acres of land out of pear production. Like many farmers in Lake County, they're being squeezed. What if this trend continues?
Then the consumer isn't going to have a choice anymore. They're not going to have a choice to select the Lake County pear that they're going to have the best eating experience with.
But if we adapt to consumer demands, I think that there is a future. I'm not going to give up easily.
In this corner of California, pears are celebrated at festivals and enjoyed over the generations. Pear farming is more than an industry here.
Delicious.
It's a way of life.
Yeah, there we go.
We're doing an evaluation with new varieties of pears that can be grown in Lake County.
Lake County pears bring premium prices wherever they sell.
We're packing a premium product. Our name and our region are on the box, and that is a source of pride for everybody who works in the packing house.
The Lake County pear is not just another pear out of California. It's the pear out of California.
Every year with the spring bloom, the cycle begins again.
These right here are really nice Lake County pears. They have a nice long stem. That's going to be really nice quality fruit.
The Lake County pear story goes back more than a century. It's a history story, and it's a story for the future. Every year, new trees are planted, mindful of the generations to come.
This will be a producing orchard in about 5 to 7 years.
It's hard work. It's stressful work. It has more challenges every year, and yet we love what we do. It's in our blood.